If you're a business owner, this is a spotlight on exit planning. Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. Joining me on this segment is Will Stafford. He's an exit planning advisor and founder of Stafford Law. Will, welcome to the program.
Mark, thanks for having me.
Will, tell us a little bit about your work and tell us specifically who are the types of clients that you specialize in helping?
Absolutely. So my firm is an estate planning and business law firm here in Houston, and we really specialize in helping families and businesses that are at the intersection of those practice areas. So we like to work with families who own small and medium-sized businesses here in Texas and around the country. And it's really important to know that exit planning is estate planning, and estate planning is exit planning when you're a small business owner. And so we really walk the divide between those practice areas and make sure that our clients are prepared for their eventual exit, because it's coming one way or another.
I appreciate that distinction. And, speaking of business owners, they're so great at their craft and what they do, and they're thinking growth, growth, growth. But how much thought do they really put into exit planning when it's time to exit that business? Do they even know where to start?
They usually don't. So my initial conversation with business owners usually goes something like, what's your plan for when you no longer want to work in your business? And the answers I get are either, I don't know, or my kids will take over it, or very rarely they have some actual plan. I don't know is an easy place to start. My kids will take over it is a more difficult place to start, because the follow-up question is, do your kids want to take over it? And the answer to that question is usually, I don't know.
So I'd love to unpack that a little bit more. The idea behind this series of spotlights is really to shed light on the process of exit planning and the importance of it for business owners. Can you kind of give us a 10,000-foot view of what it's like to work with you in the areas that you help these business owners navigate? What does that look like?
Absolutely. So early on in the engagement, when we first start thinking about exit planning, we really want to start that conversation quite literally years before any potential exit. So if we could have 4, 5, 6 years, that's truly optimal. At that point, we're going to be bringing a team of professionals together. Myself as the attorney, financial advisors, accountants, insurance professionals, and we're going to start looking at all the pieces of the business that we can improve to make that future exit more feasible and more financially profitable. From the legal perspective, the things we're looking at are, do you have a risk management program in place? And is it robust and functional? Do you have an estate plan in place for you personally and for the business? And when we're talking about a business's estate plan, we're talking about if something were to happen to you unexpectedly, how would the business continue running? Do you have a partner in it? Do you have a buy-sell agreement? If you do have a buy-sell agreement, is it funded and how? I think most business owners, when they think about planning for unexpected business succession, the first thing they think about is a buy-sell agreement, but they don't generally take it the step further to say, well, the buy-sell agreement needs to be funded, because it's all well and good to have an agreement that says my partner is going to buy out my family if I were to get hit by a truck. But if they don't have the $5 million in cash to buy out your family when you get hit by the truck, the agreement's not super useful. So we think about all those issues up front, make sure that we plan for the unexpected eventualities, and then we can start looking 5 years down the road and plan for a purposeful exit.
Sounds like a lot of moving parts and considerations there, and it's a lot more than people might think. They might think it's like selling a home or something, selling their business. Are there preconceived notions like that? Do people think it's as easy selling a business as selling a home, or what are some of the biggest myths or misconceptions you perhaps hear out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So people come to us all the time and they say, I'm ready to retire. I want to sell my business. And we say, sure, when? As soon as possible. And the answer to that is, okay, we can certainly go ahead and start a process to try to sell the business immediately. The problem is that you're never going to get the best price you could have gotten if we don't have some lead time to make the business more attractive to a buyer. And when you're talking about making a business more attractive to a buyer, you're really talking about two factors. You have quantitative factors, so the money, right? And you also have qualitative factors, the parts of the business that aren't necessarily show up on the balance sheet, but that make the business more attractive to a buyer. So does the business rely on the owner for its revenue? Does the business have systematized processes and procedures to make the business run without necessarily the key decision makers being involved on a day-to-day method? Does it have a distributed customer base? Or does it rely on one or two major customers for all of its business? So all of these things that we can change if we have a little bit of time make the business far more valuable because they increase the multiple. And that's the most impactful way to increase the value of the business, is to get a better multiple on your revenue.
Great insights. Will, what inspired you to even get into this field and help business owners with their exit plans and estate plans? How did you get started?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. So I spent the first decade or so of my career really as a traditional corporate attorney. So doing large corporate transactions, mergers and acquisitions, securities offerings, that sort of thing. And a few years ago, I was working for a prior firm, and that firm did a lot of estate planning for families. And I did a lot of planning for businesses. And because of that intersection, I ended up getting pulled into a lot of cases that really kind of walked the line between the two. And that's when I really started to conceptualize the practice that I have today, because it's this amazing hybrid practice that puts together all of my experience from the corporate world and all of the things I love about helping families and small business owners plan for their future, because it's such a rewarding area to practice in. It's something that most business owners, they may be the most amazing widget maker on earth, but this is not something that they can do for themselves. And that's amazing to be able to step in there and help them give themselves this gift of a plan. Whether that plan is going to be put into effect 6 months from now or 6 years from now, it takes a huge weight off someone's shoulder to know that the plan exists. So that's what we do.
Before I ask you my last question, Will, is there anything that I didn't think to ask regarding exit planning that you feel is important to share with business owners listening that are considering selling their business in the near future?
Yeah, I think the one thing I would reiterate that I mentioned before is to start early. So if you think there is a chance that you may want to sell your business or exit it in any way, right? An exit doesn't always mean a sale. When we say exit, that can mean a succession to your children, either purposefully while you're alive or upon your death. We could be letting a partner take over. We could be letting your employees take over by setting up an ESOP or something like that. But to work through the process to decide what the best exit option is for a business owner, it takes time. And so the earlier someone comes to us, the better, because not only can we find the right path, but we have enough time to take that path and make it as impactful as possible to the value of the business.
Will, for folks listening and business owners that would like to speak with you, how can they find you? How can they connect with you and learn more?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. You can go to our website, which is www.staffordlawtx.com, or you can email me directly at Will, W-I-L-L, at staffordlawtx.com, or you can give us a call. Our office number is 713-929-9992.
Will, this has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Mark, thank you so much. I've had a great time, and thank you for all you do for the business owner community. And thanks again.
That was Will Stafford, founder of Stafford Law. And this segment was brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.